but doo-doo. You doo-doo. Doo-doo is like caca, but English is doo-doo and Italian is caca. Caca, caca. And this is called cacchiare, cacchiare. As opposed to do-do-do-are, do-do. There's no such word as do-do-do-are. So, once again, when you expose yourself to a foreign language, you have to expose yourself to, yeah, I mean, you gotta be vulnerable. But if the people, it's one way to, separate the boys from the men, the wheat, the straw from the wheat, the chaff from the waff, or whatever it is. And my experience with the Italians is they've been pretty kind to me. My butchering the language, that's an expression for it. I'll say it on another one. But okay. So this should be enough for tonight. Because I can't remember anything that I wanted to talk about, and I think I'm gonna go upstairs and listen to some music. I love listening to music. Luna, my wife, she prefers the TV, but sometimes she just stares in, and she sits next to me. She's knitting, and I must admit, the knitting calms me down. And the image of her, it reminds me of my grandmother and the calmness I felt in that house. I felt peace in that house. Angelina Metallica and Giuseppe Grandone, an arranged marriage from Ruva del Monte. But somehow it produced a good thing. Somehow it did. Oh well, from a selfish point of view, here I am. And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my grandmother. Although my mom had, some part of it, but not as much as my grandmother. She came across it in my lifespan at a fortuitous time to have a good influence on my development. Very positive influence. And that influence had to do with love. Love. Oh, love. So you need. Man, because I always fell in love by my grandmother, and then you got to feel it. You got to feel it, and you got to feel it at a certain age. And then it clicks in, and then that's where it gets complicated. You got to have the capacity to feel it. And genetically, sometimes people are on the capacity. They're impaired. I have seen it played out many times, over and over again. These people have these ideologies that they can save these children who are clearly biologically impaired to absorb love. I mean, you may object to that, but that's because you're ideological. But it happens. You got to have the receiver as well as the tuner, the projector. In other words, somebody projects love, you have to be able to receive it, and some organisms are impaired. We should eliminate them, get rid of them somehow, stop trying to change them. We have to get rid of the ideologues, the illusionists that believe that this basic biology can be altered. Then we go back to gender again. Gender is a social construct, but as E.O. Wilson says, and if you call E.O. Wilson, you're in good company. Biology determines the social construct. Pretty much, biology runs the store, and then you can construct what you want from what's in the store, but you got to go by what is in the store. Had a person come to me the other day, and very young person, in their 20s, because I think that's the generation. I mean, she's like 3, 4, 5 generations removed from me, but that's the generation that grew up with this absurd idea that reality is a social construct. It's not. It's not. I mean, it is and it isn't. It's partially. So she says to me, she's angry about the way the men act at the restaurant she works at. I said, what do you mean? And she says, well, they're so competitive. I said, no, I didn't say anything, but I thought, they're supposed to be competitive. They're men. And you? Are you supposed to be competitive? You're a woman. You are too, but competitive in a different way. You're supposed to be competitive in terms of developing the nest. See, but that has nothing to do with gender. That has to do with sex. Birds do that, otters do that, seals do that, polar bears do that, and humans do that. But you know what? We're, except for the birds, we're included in that cadre, that genre. We still have the impulse, the female, to feather her nest, and the male still has an influence to, you know, go out and procreate. God, I grew up with the beatniks, man. It was so different then. I'm watching the Melancholy. Okay, see you later. Existential half hour. Checks off. My arm is feeling much better. Look at this. Look what I can do with my arm now. I couldn't do that a few weeks ago without pain. No pain. No pain, no gain.